information, what it can do for your financial future. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And you guys should be able to see it. Okay, so as you can see, there's a lovely lady there working, right? Women run the world. Women are the backbone. We take care of the kids. We work, we take care of the household. And, you know, times have changed where because of COVID, a lot of us now are, you know, working from home. So what we do is we are building a new industry in the financial industry, because for so many long, the financial industry, you know, it was only catered to the wealthy or the rich people, right? If you and I walk into a financial institution, if I have $1 million and someone else has 100,000, we're going to get different information. We're going to be seen by different people. So what our company does is we want to change that. We want to make sure that everybody gets the same information, whether they can afford to save $1 or $100 or $1 million, right? So we're changing the financial industry by building a new industry. So what we do is we provide financial education, because it's ironic that we live in one of the wealthiest country, but guys, wouldn't you agree? We have so much money problems, right? Even though we live in the US, there's a lot of money problems, right? And what we've come to learn is that there's two types of families. There's family A, which is 95% of middle America, right? When we get our paycheck, unfortunately, because we were never properly educated, we put our money in accounts like a 401k, because that's what they tell us to do, right? And so we have a retirement crisis, because how many of us we know have a 401k and are really, really set in their retirement? They're really comfortable, right? My parents are not. My parents' friends are not. And so we've seen that there's a retirement crisis because one, we're not saving enough. And two, the vehicles that we're putting our money in to save and for retirement. Then we also see there's an education crisis. Guys, education, I see this firsthand. Every semester, I poll my students and I ask them, how many of them are on student loan? They're on a scholarship, or their parents are paying for this. 90% of the class are on loans. And year one, they're already in huge debt. Here in New York, college is expensive, right? So we're seeing that most of our students are graduating with lots of student debt, student loan, the size of a mortgage, right? So they're actually starting their career adult life in a deficit. So we have an education crisis. And on top of it, you guys know we love shopping, right? We're always buying stuff for $20, $100, and you know, we're spending this little money, but over time it's really adding up. And some of us are spending more than we're making. So we also see that there's a spending crisis. Now, because these three things are happening, we are falling into a debt cycle. And now we're just working to pay the bills and pay debt. But then there's family B that I never knew of, right? I want to know how are these people doing, and how would they get in the way with life in terms of their finances? What is it that they're doing better that the 95% is not doing? Well, guess what? They understand how money works. They know how money works. They know the rules of money. They understand that, first of all, it's not about having a salary, but it's about having wage, right? It's about making profit. So their mindset is to own. They want to own stuff. They want to own business. They don't want a salary or a paycheck. They want wages where they're controlling how much they can get paid. And when they get paid, they're going to pay themselves first. They don't pay everybody else first. They pay themselves first, right? So if you're working for $1,000, right off the bat, you know you're putting away money first before you do anything else. And the next thing that they do well is they plan for their retirement, and they know exactly what vehicles to use to retire comfortably with a lot of money, money that they're actually gonna not even outlive, right? So they know where to save for their retirement. And because most of them are really big on education, they start saving from birth for their kids' education. Now, whether the child goes to college or not, there's money there waiting for that child to go to college. And if the child doesn't want to go to college, well, hey, they can start a business with that money. So their whole process when it comes to managing their money, growing their money, protecting their money is totally different. Another thing that they do exceedingly well is called proper protection. What do I mean by that? Think of it, guys. We insure our cars. We insure our home. Some of us insure trips, travel. Some of us insure jewelry. Some of us insure expensive designer bags, right? But are we insuring ourselves? Because we're the one that has to go out and make this money, right? So they understand proper protection. And because they're educated, they know which type to get. They just don't buy life insurance for burial. I'm going to say that again. They don't just buy life insurance for burial. They buy life insurance to increase their net worth, right? They buy life insurance to create an asset tax-free, right? So they buy life insurance for investment purposes. They buy life insurance with a total different mindset. Family A, we just want to buy life insurance for burial. Family B, they're buying life insurance with a different sets of lens, which has nothing to do with burial, right? Two total different concepts. So most people, they don't plan to fail. They just fail to plan. And sadly, we were never educated on these concepts that I'm about to share with you guys tonight. One of the greatest discovery in finance was discovered by Albert Einstein. How many of you have heard about him, right? So he was this famous genius, right? And this is one of the financial discoveries, the rule of 72. Known as compound interest. If you know this formula, just one formula alone is going to help you with your finance. Because what it says is you're going to take the number 72 and divide it by the interest. And that will tell you the number of years your money is going to take to double. Listen, I've worked in great careers making six-figure, and I didn't even know this formula. How many of you knew this formula before, prior to coming on here tonight? Does anyone? Right? I didn't know it either. So how does it work? Let's apply it to money, because then sometimes I have people who tell me, yeah, I know compound interest, but let's plug the numbers and apply it to your money. Let's say you're getting 4%. 72 divided by 4 is 18 years. So if you have $10,000 today, wherever you're saving or investing, growing at 4%, it's going to take your money 18 years before it doubled to 20,000. 18 years. That's a long time, right? And if you, let's say you don't really need the money and you leave it there again, another 18 years roll around. So now you have a total of 36 years and you've only amassed $40,000. Guys, 36 years from now, if you do this, if you have 10,000 today at 4%, in 36 years, so if you're in your 30s, right? 36 years from now, you're 76 years old. What are you guys going to do with 40,000 when you're 76 years old? This is why we have a retirement crisis. People don't know this basic concept, right? Now, let's say maybe you learn this information and you were fortunate enough to get 12%. And most people don't know where they're going to get 12%, right? But let's say you're getting 12%. 72 divided by 12 is now 6 years. So every 6 years, now your money's doubling. That's a lot better than 18, right? So here you have two individuals, both saving 10,000 or investing 10,000. One is getting 4%. The other one, because they're financially educated, they're getting 12%. Both individual in 36 years is going to end up with two different numbers. Do you want to be the person getting 40,000 or do you want to be the person getting 640,000? I think everybody will say 640,000. This is powerful. If you apply this to wherever you're saving or investing your money and you plug this percentage in for whatever the rate is that you're getting, you're going to know what's going on with your money, right? But guess what? This also can work against us if we don't know it. Let's say you have a credit card at 12%. You borrowed 10,000 from the credit card company or the car loan, right? 6 years rolled around, that money doubled on you. So even though you only borrowed 10, now you're going to have to pay back 20 because you didn't know this rule. So there's an article that talks about there's 1 million senior citizens. Google that article. There's 1 million senior citizens right now who are still paying back student loan. Why? Because they did not know this rule. If you know this rule and you have any type of loan, you want to pay it off before it doubles on you, right? Super, super big deal. So our company, we have products and companies that we work with that can provide 4% growth on your money, 8% growth on your money, or even 12% growth on your money, right? So imagine the difference between someone getting 4% at 40,000 and that other person who's getting 12%, 640,000. That's a whopping $600,000 difference. That could change someone's entire retirement. So it's very, very important to learn this rule, but more so apply it to your money when you're saving or investing, or if you're borrowing money and it's in the form of a loan that you have to pay back. Pay it back before it doubles. So let's talk about the second rule that we sit down and educate families. Most of us, if we have a job, right? Or let's say most of us have about a checking account, right? All of us have a bank account. So if you have a checking, saving, CD, stocks, or mutual, these accounts fall under a tax now vehicle. Meaning, as you can see, the triangle is getting bigger. More money you make, more taxes you pay. And you're going to pay that tax now, typically at the end of the year. What about if you have a job? 401k, 403b, IRA, SEP, annuity, any one of those job type of retirements that they give us, guess what? Do you think they're benefiting us or the government? Well, when we put money in these accounts, can we touch that money prior to age 59 without any penalties? No, we cannot. You want to buy a house, life hits you down. I had a girl one time who works for a Federal Reserve Bank. She wanted to pull out 20 grand from her 401k to stock her bar because she's also an entrepreneur. And she couldn't take that 20,000 from her 401k, right? And that was an investment opportunity to stock her bar, right? So when we put our money in these types of accounts, the government doesn't really want us to touch it prior to age 59. If we do, they're going to slap us on the wrist with a 10% penalty, right? Because they want to use that money for us for the 59 years prior to retirement. And now after 59, what's going to happen? So you see the triangle, the first two blocks are not shaded. The third block is shaded. Why? We did not pay tax on this money today in your 401k. The agreement with the government is we're going to pay tax later. But let me ask you guys something. When you are 59, 60 and above, do you think taxes is going to be the same as it is today? Or is it going to be more or less? Does cost of living ever go down or it goes up? Does things get cheaper as the time go by or it goes down? It goes up, right? So if taxes, we know all forms of taxes, because cost of living goes up, all forms of taxes are going to go up. I mean, we're in a country where we're literally in debt. The country as a whole is in debt. So if we're in debt, one of the ways to offset it is to increase taxes. So now let's say you've been putting away your $100 every month in your 401k. Fast forward, now you're 60 years old, you're ready to retire. Your $100 grew to, let's say, $250,000. How much of that $250,000 are you going to get to keep in your pocket? Nobody knows, because the government has to tax that $250,000. How much? We don't know, right? So if you have any one of these types of accounts, make sure that you really understand how it's going to impact you later, because later the taxes are going to be greater. It has to go up. Nothing goes down. Your rent is not going to go down. You could be living there for 30 years. Your rent will never go down, right? And now the third one is tax advantage. Now the word advantage in itself tells us that it's a good thing. It's positive things, right? So with this triangle, now you see the beginning, it is shaded, because when you put your money in tax advantage, you're going to pay the tax now. Pay the tax today on your $100. While your $100 is little, pay the tax, because you know what the taxes are today. You don't know what it's going to be next year or next 5 or 20 or 30 years, but you know what it is today, right? So when we pay the tax on our little money today, and now your money grows to $250,000 later, you don't have to worry about Uncle Sam coming to you, right? So with tax advantage, these accounts, Roth, which I'm sure many of you have heard about, 529 college saving, which some people use for their kids' education, executive bonus, which are usually for employers or self-entrepreneur, long-term care, and cash value life insurance, right? So these types of accounts all has pros and cons. So when we sit with a family, we educate them on which is the best one for them. Now, the third rule to money is understanding your options when it comes to investment. Most of us, we get a job, and whatever the job is offering, we just automatically sign up for it, because that's what everybody else is doing. That's what HR says. Hey, we got a 401k, we got a pension, we got an IRA. We just sign up for them. But what if I tell you you have options? Fix. If you put your money in a fixed account, it is safe, but it's not going to grow a lot. That's why the line is flat. That's why most people trust the bank, or they go to the bank, because your money is safe, but it's not growing much. And I actually saw this firsthand many years ago when I was stacking away money in my bank account. And every year at the end of the statement, at the end of the year when I get my statement, I was probably making like $100 in interest. So what I did is I multiply $100 every year times maybe 20 or 30 years before I retire. That's not a lot of money I'm going to get. What is $100 interest going to do, right? So with the bank, your money is safe, but it's not going to grow much, for the simple reason the interest that the banks are giving us, 0.02, is too little. It's not even enough to keep up with inflation, right? Then you have variable. If you Google the word variable, variable means it goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. You and I have no control over that. So yes, we can be super rich today, but tomorrow we can be a pauper, right? So with variable, there's a lot of growth potential, right? But there's absolutely no safety. And we've seen people got burned in 2001, in 2008, and also last year, 2020, with COVID. Because guess what? 10,000 people are turning baby boomers every day. So if 10,000 people are turning baby boomers per day, a lot of people were scheduled to retire last year. So if they had $1 million wherever, and COVID came and wiped out about 30-40%, do they still have $1 million? No, they do not, right? So those are your variable. Wherever you're putting your money, if it's in the stock market, it is variable. You could be rich, but you could be poor. There is no guarantee. And I don't want to know I could be rich and I could be poor. I want to know that I'm rich and I stay rich. And I'm sure you guys want the same, right? You want that safety. And then the third box is index, which almost nobody knows about except the 5%, right? Except the 5%. And what are index? Now, these are accounts that are only offered by life insurance companies. You're not going to get this at the bank, right? Only life insurance companies. And actually, I'm looking for a book here. A really good book that talks about this strategy is called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And you guys all know the Rockefellers was a very, very wealthy family. They use the index strategy, right? So these are, now your money is safe and it's growing. You can never, ever lose a penny regardless of what the stock market is doing, regardless of what the country or the economy is going through, whatever turmoil is happening in the world, COVID, no COVID, or another type of disease or another wave or pandemia, it does not affect your money when you have it in index account. So let me ask you, how many of you would love to know that wherever you're putting your money right now, you are guaranteed safety, that you will never ever lose a penny? You can sleep at night and don't care what the stock market does. You ain't losing a dime, right? Those are offered by life insurance companies and it's index. Your money is safe and your money is growing, right? How would you like to grow your money? Now that you know your investment options, how would you like to grow your money? And where do you think your money is sitting now that you understand a little better? Are you in a fixed account where your money is safe in the bank? It's really safe, but it ain't going nowhere, right? It is safely losing to inflation. Or yes, you in the Bitcoin, you in the Forex, you in the stock market, and you up today, but then you down tomorrow. That's your variable. You make a lot of money today, and then tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year, you lost a couple. Or you want to be in an index account where I don't care what's happening. I'm not losing any money. I don't even have to watch the news. I don't care what's going on in the world. I'm not losing any money, right? So it's super, super important to learn how money works. And when you learn how money works, these are the 4 things that we teach families when we sit with them and we educate them to put themselves in a position to control their financial future. These are the 4 boxes. Growth. Wherever you're putting your money, it has to grow, right? And I realized that many, many years ago, stacking away money in the bank account and it's safely barely making me $100 interest. It is not growing much, right? So we want to make sure that it's growing. There's a growth component, but it also has to be safe. And this is where most people struggle. They could grow it, but it's not safe, or it's safe, but it's not growing. They can't seem to have a balance to really get both, right? The third box talks about tax advantage. Super, super, super important. You and I could both have $1 million. And depending on where your million is sitting, if one is tax advantage and one is tax later, who's going to end up keeping more money in their pocket? Because remember, tax advantage, I already paid the tax on my money. So if it's $1 million, I'm keeping my $1 million. But if you've got your $1 million in a tax later account, which means you didn't pay tax on the money, so now that it's $1 million, you have to pay Uncle Sam tax. Super important when it comes to tax advantages. And the 4th box deals with protection. We got to protect this money. We're working so hard for it, right? So we got to learn what to do to protect this money. It's not enough to just die and have money to bury ourselves, right? We want to protect our money. We want to protect our life in the event we get ill, disabled, and cannot work. We want to protect our loved ones. God forbid if we pass away prematurely. So those are the 4 boxes when it comes to your money that it should have. So ask yourself this question right now. Do you have those 4? I didn't. My money wasn't growing, but it was safe in the bank. And because it was in the bank, it's not tax advantage. And back then, I didn't believe in life insurance. I'm single. I'm like, I got my burial money. I'm good to go. So what if I had gotten sick? What if I become disabled? What if I can't work? There's no protection, right? My brother is 37 years old, double amputee, no protection, right? He's 37. He's got a long ways to live. No protection. Very sad that some of us, things has to happen to us before we wake up. But we don't want this to happen to a lot of us. And this is why we do what we do, and we teach and share this information. So we can help you with increasing your cash flow. Like I said, Usha wasn't working last year in the heights of the pandemic. I spoke to a client today. Great job. Now she's unemployed, going into her 12th month, almost a year at home with 4 kids, right? Unemployed. So we teach people the importance of having multiple sources of income. Listen, the billionaires are always looking for more opportunities to make more money. They're always getting into more things, whether it's a venture, a business, or something. And they have a lot of money. And yet still, they're still looking for other ways to make more. They already have enough that they can even, they're going to die and leave money. But they're still looking to diversify and have multiple streams of income, right? For those of you that have kids, we can help you plan and save in the best vehicles for your kids' college. Because most of us, we want our kids to go to college, right? We really do. We want our kids to have a proper education. But how are we helping them with that? My parents didn't help me with it, right? But I want to change that for the next generation. And how about setting up our emergency fund, right? We've been in COVID now over a year. So 3 to 6 months is not enough. We got to save more than 3 to 6 months. There is nothing wrong having more money saved up, right? And then, of course, proper protection. We teach families all types of life insurance, not just buying a term policy or a basic whole life policy. In fact, tonight, 9 p.m., we have a financial workshop that's going to teach people on all the different types of life insurance and why everybody needs it, right? Building wealth. Listen, again, we're working hard for this money. And the reason why we're working hard for this is because we want to have a better future. We want to have a better life. So we got to understand how to build this wealth. And then the last phase is to protect and preserve it. So yes, when we pass on, we're paying the least amount of taxes legally. And we're also having that legacy passed down to our kids' kids, right? So these are just some of the financial concept and education that when we sit with family, like Shanti said, when she followed up with Usha and we sat with her and explained to her and showed her some of these things, she decided, you know what, I want to learn more because I don't know this information. So we also have workshops that we provide and tons of training, right? We have our own workbook. We have our own Saving Your Future book. It has been printed in over 1 million copies, 5 different languages, super big deal, right? And we hold workshops on all aspects of finance, increasing cash flow, managing your debt. With COVID, so many people are buried in debt because no income coming in, right? How to set up your financial foundation, how to properly protect yourself, right? Because anything could happen in the future. How to build your wealth, retirement, wealth preservation. These are all workshops that we offer to the community, not just in New York, not just in PA, not just in Connecticut, but nationwide, US and Canada, right? Every Wednesday. So who are we? Our parent company is called Aegon. Strength and credibility is second to none. We are listed on a company of 9, on a list of 9, okay? On a list of 9 companies listed as too big to fail. Aegon has so much reserve upon reserve upon reserve that it can never go yonder. They have more assets than what they're taking in, right? So we sit on a list of 9 companies, super big deal. We've been over 176-year-old company, so we're not a fly by night. We just didn't pop up 2, 3, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. This company has been around long before our great grandparents were born, 176 years old to be exact. And they're based in the Netherlands, right? So like many major companies, most people don't know who the major company or who the parent company is, but they know their subsidiary. So here in the States, I'm sure many of you know or have heard of Transamerica. Transamerica has been around for over 100 years, right? And that building that you see there is their flagship building in San Francisco, right? And Transamerica, when Usha and I worked in the hotel industry, we had our 401k with them, right? And they do a lot of retirement and investment, pension for Fortune 500 companies, right? If you have a 401k, maybe see if it's Transamerica, it might be them. That's us, right? And then WFG is the education arm, where we go out and we educate families on some of these basic money concepts to help people understand how money works so they can win the money game. Simple, right? So that's who we are. Shanti is part of this national campaign for financial education. Yes, there's also an opportunity to, if the opportunity is for the right person, just like Shanti, she decided to get her license. Actually, that's how I started too. As a professor, I just wanted to come on here and learn, attend the trainings, attend the workshop, get help with my own finance. And I quickly realized after attending one workshop that I was so clueless. And it hit me like, you're a professor. If you don't know this, Odetta, a lot more people probably don't know this either. So with that being said, 3 months, just like Shanti, in 3 months, I decided to get my license and share this information with my friends, my family, my coworker, my students' parents. And when we share the information and help families, we also get paid. There's a lot of money to be made in the financial industry. And none of us didn't plan to be in the financial industry, but we saw an opportunity to help ourselves, help our families, and why not help strangers also with this information? So for the right person, if you're interested, get in touch with Shanti or whoever invited you on this webinar, and we'll follow up a one-on-one with you to see how we can help you. So I'm going to launch a poll, and it's really going to be simple. 2 questions. Can you guys see the poll? 2 questions. 1, I'm ready to see how I can qualify for a part-time position. Just like Shanti, just like myself, just like Usha, we all came here to learn and get help with our finance. Well, it quickly hit us like a ton of bricks that we do not know this information, and our community as well does not know this information. So what did we decide to do? Do the business and have multiple streams of income. So yes, I still teach. Thanks to COVID, I do it virtual online, so it's easy. But I'm also teaching personal finance, right? So Shanti is able to do the same from Philadelphia. Same with Usha. Her hotel didn't call her back. So technically she would have still been unemployed because she is still unemployed from her hotel job, right? And the second question is on the poll is, I need help with my finances to become better at managing and controlling my money and get a free financial consultation. At the very, very basic minimum, I recommend get a financial consultation. Understand what's going on with your money and where you are with your money. Are you controlling your money, or is your money controlling you? Do you have a lot of debt? Are you saving for your kids' college? Are you saving for your retirement? Or maybe you can't even save anything because you're barely making ends meet. So get in touch with the person who invited you, right? So we can put a plan in place and help you, or at the very least show you what's going on. And like I said, for the right fit, if the person is who we're looking for and they want to learn more about the business side, and definitely we'll fill that you in as well. So thank you guys. I'm going to turn it back over to Shanti if she wants to have any lasting closing words. Just click on the poll and let us know which one of those two you guys are interested in. And I'm going to turn it back over to Shanti. Shanti, do you have any lasting words for you guys?
Thank you guys for your time. Hope you got some good information.